Hi folks, it's Keith, VE3SVQ, otherwise known as the Shaky Key, and sometimes Victor Alpha 3 Kilo Echo India, VA3KEI, usually when I was doing contests. So I thought I'd get into something a little different this time because it's so far been a lot of fun and I'm looking to see where it's going to go. And what I'm talking about here is learning Morse code. And a lot of people would say, why on earth would you want to do that? Well, the fact of the matter is Morse code will get through when all the radio frequencies are messed up and there's a lot of noise and static. Morse code can usually get through. And you can also get through with very, very low wattage. So you see a lot of people out there. I spoke to one guy the other day. He was running 1 milliwatt of power. Imagine that. And he was in Ohio and I was here in Ottawa. So there's lots of different reasons why people learn it. It's going through a bit of a resurgence right now, and certainly it's piqued my interest. Now, the last time I had to learn Morse code, or CW as we call it, the abbreviation version, was back in 1991. And then we had to do 12 words a minute to get our ham radio license, get the more sort of basic plus Morse code, which would open up more frequencies that we would be allowed to use. So back then, yes, I did it. I think I could do, if I remember correctly, about 15 words a minute. But learning it was awful. It was the same way we were taught one point in the military. And you studied the letters. So, A was dot dash, and you memorized it and memorized it and memorized it. The problem was when someone sent it to you, your brain was saying, oh, there's a dot dash, that's an A. So it was not something that was easy to do. And it was an awful session. You would sit in a room with some, 30 plus people, and there'd be some poor guy at the head of the room sending Morse code to you at the equivalent of 5 words a minute, which is very, very slow. So a lot of people got turned off with it, myself included. But then, like I said, we have to receive 12 words a minute and send 12 words a minute. And that's where I decided to use the name for my blog, which is the Shaky Key, because you can always tell someone who's new doing Morse code on the air just by the way their signals come through. So the Shaky Key just seemed to fit quite nicely. Now, things changed around 2016 from what I can see. Different methods of teaching came in. You were learning more by sound now than by memorization. And it's continued to evolve. So I got back into it, I guess, at this point about a month ago, decided let's see where things stood. And I started looking up and doing some research on it. And it turns out there's actually some very good platforms, some self-teach ones. You don't have to go to a course or sit in a classroom. So we have one put out by Gulf 4, Foxtrot Oscar November. So G4FON, that's a web page, which absolutely super. There's a very similar one put out by the ICWO.net, which is one I've been using quite a bit of. And again, very simple, very easy to use, and lots of fun. Frustrating when you get up and you miss some of those words or letters, but it's a very good program. So they've made learning Morse code a little bit more enjoyable. Now, another one, when I was doing research for this, and of course YouTube and all those places, there's all sorts of people who can pass recommendations on. And one of the ones that kept coming up was the Long Island CW Club, the Long Island Morse Code Club, basically. So I checked them out, and quite the system. The network. It's worldwide. It's not just for Long Island, it's worldwide. Classes taught through Zoom and whatever. And as an example, I have a class coming tonight at 7 o'clock our time. And I'll be with an instructor down in Australia. So there you go, worldwide. And they have some in Britain. I've seen some from Japan and all over the place. And obviously some Americans. But it's a self-teach one, but besides just the self-teach, they also do a lot of personal practice and assistance. So when you need to send Morse code, you've got an expert sitting on the other end who can listen to you, send, correct you, offer suggestions. They teach, how you're supposed to operate with Morse code on the air, what you're supposed to say. There's different protocols involved. But so far, it looks pretty good. So I would definitely give them a thumbs up. And as I said, it's been something like 30 years since I've done this. And so I'm going to look forward to it. And we'll keep you up to date and let you know how the course goes and how exploring Morse code all over again goes. And by the way, I have exactly one Morse code contact in my logbook, and I decided one was enough way back in 1991. So there you go. We'll see if we can improve on that score. Keith Beardsley, Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec, wishing you a great day. 73.